Hello everyone, I am John Aljets and welcome to this commentary where today we are taking a look at the sprite whacking speed development. It's one of my shorter speed developments, so this is probably going to be a shorter commentary, but this is an interesting technique that I don't remember if I taught in my sprite creation tutorial, but basically what the idea is taking pre-made sprites and just ripping them apart and using different like pieces from different ones to sort of just make the final product that you want. For this one, I was actually doing it with my Project Next characters, which is a Pokemon fan game that I've been working on for several years now. I actually haven't worked on it much recently. I should probably do something about that. So let's just jump right in here. I believe I was creating the character Charlie, who's like a sort of best friend to the player character, sort of rival type. Now I wanted to use Lieutenant Surge's head here because the blonde hair, that was sort of what I was looking for. And if you notice, every once in a while I'll flash back to the trainer sprite that I have. I'm using that as reference. Now here I try it out on Koga just to see what's the body look like, but I'm not happy with that. So I sort of shift over to this kind of scientist nerdy civilian guy. And so I have to obviously be changing colors, get it to match. At one point here, I try out something to try to get that stripe texture that he has, where I try to add in a middle stripe, but it doesn't quite work. So I just sort of keep things as is and sort of fill that in. I also, at one point here, try to add in some blue from the scarf on the player sprite, but that's a situation where if I had added that in, it would have looked really weird. It just would have looked off because I wouldn't have been able to really get that scarf look in there and still have it sit in the style of a Pokemon sprite. So I just sort of ignored that for now. Most of the time when you're trying to make a sprite that matches a bigger, more high resolution sprite, you want to try to have as many of the details as you possibly can, but sometimes it doesn't really work out. So here it is, just sort of pasting on the head into the places where it needs to be, and then just doing coloring. Really, it's largely what this is just you finding the parts that you want to use and then recoloring them to all match and all work together. Beyond that, there's really not a lot to say. I'm constantly saving, and here I'm gonna be pasting in the tile or the sprites and swapping them around so that we can get them going the other direction. And then I delete the bottom layer, and there's our final product. Now, that in on itself, if you're a big Pokemon fan, it is recognizable where the head sprite is from, because I didn't change anything on the head sprite. I could have changed something on the head sprite, but I didn't, because it just worked with what I wanted to do. But if you are not a huge Pokemon fan, or if you haven't played 3rd generation in a while, you might not necessarily be able to recognize all of the parts of that sprite. And that's kind of one of the wonderful things about sprite whacking, is that if you take the time and you change enough, it's going to be a lot harder to tell where you got the original parts from, which I feel like is the more important part of the whole process. So if any of that made sense, I hope that it did. Give this video a like, be sure to subscribe, and why not click some of the buttons over on the side there to check out other videos that I've done that you might enjoy, or you can click on the little round thing down there to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.